Hi, I'm Stephen Hand from Archery Supplies. Today I want to talk about shooting the State Clout Championships in 2022 at Kapunda. So Kapunda is a country town north of Adelaide, about 1 hour north. It's a mining town, and the event is held at a trotting track. It's an amazing facility because it's like completely flat. They've got all the trotting facilities, so a bar and all that sort of stuff there. And it's a small country town, which I think is awesome. It's run by the local club, which is Light Archers. And what's amazing about this club, it's a very small club. And on the day, I don't know where they get all these members from, but all these people come in to help them set up the event. They put on hamburgers and drinks. They put on soup and coffees in the canteen. I think the volunteer aspect of archery is amazing. 55 people competed on the day, which is, I think, the best I've seen since I've been here, 8 years in the state, and I think it's been growing pretty much since I've been here. I think the numbers used to be down before I was here. So we had 55 people compete. It wasn't a bad day. The Clout in the past has been terrible weather, rain, wind, cold. It wasn't bad. There was a bit of wind and a bit of variation. What I want to talk about is my experience at the Clout. Now, a lot of people go there wanting to shoot their best or just to compete or to win or whatever. Now, for me, I put a lot of time into getting the arrows set up. So first off, I went up there with some arrows that I built for the purpose of this event, that I tuned, went up there, and they were no good. They were too fast. So I was a bit lost, and I did a video on that. I came back and built some more arrows, and I went back up there and got sight settings again, and then I was ready for the event. So I put in a fair bit of time and effort into this event to try and win this event. Now, I have failed at Clout with a recurve bow so many times in the past. I have been very close to winning, but I've failed many, many times. It's about perseverance, and this is what I want to talk about in this video. So one of my friends who was shooting the event in the open compound, Peter, his two sons work for Archery Supplies for my company. The first time he shot Clout, they said, "We don't want anyone putting your arrows in the wheat field behind the Clout." And it was 40 meters behind the Clout. Well, Peter, the first time he's there shooting Clout, all these arrows are in the wheat field, 40 meters behind the Clout. He's lost his arrows and he's like, well, what's the purpose of this? This is all a bit. And that was the Clout that one of my friends won, who shot, I think, the state record, or close to it, for the first time he shot Clout, which was amazing. Anyway, so Peter, a couple of years on now, just came second last year by a couple of points. This year he actually won the event, so well done to Peter for that. And I think that's to go from where you don't actually score any arrows to when you actually win open compound. I think that's a huge achievement, and it's the effort he's put in to get from there to there, getting his arrow set up, getting the bow set up. The time he put in, he was up there the week before, getting his sight settings with his two sons. That's a massive achievement. So I was up there a couple of weeks before the event with Peter and his two sons, Rohat and Raina. Rohat was having problems. His arrows were coming in a bit flat and he was getting a bit of a spread, and he was like, oh, well, I think I'll go home now. And anyway, Peter and Rohat and Raina, they stayed behind and kept shooting to get his sight settings perfect, and they lowered his poundage of his bow to try and get more arc coming in. And on the day, Rohat, which I was shooting with, was shooting extremely well. All his arrows were in the goal. And shooting amazing. But there was another boy shooting called Ryan Bird. Ryan was having an amazing shoot. It was so amazing, he equaled the state record for Clout. In under 18, he's a very quiet boy, and he's got these arrows. And we're like, have you got special arrows? He's like, no, I got these given to me. They didn't want them, so I'm just shooting them. It's meanwhile, all of us on the line, we've all got these special arrows, which we've made specially for Clout, where he's just got some arrows that someone's given to him, that he's just lobbing Clout. He goes, I just shoot whatever they give me. It's and he shoots the state record. At the halfway point, Ryan is 8 points ahead of Rohart, who works in my shop. And Rohart's absolutely having a great shoot. Ryan is obviously having a fantastic shoot because he's just shot the state record. Anyway, they come back from lunch, and on the first end, Rohart shoots a 58 out of 60. Ryan shoots a 44. So he's actually caught up. I think it's 44. He's actually caught up. He's now ahead. So, and these two kids are just lobbing all the arrows at 165 metres all in the goal. They're just shooting lights out. Anyway, the next end, Ryan has one bad arrow, but Rohart actually misses the target. The string hits his jumper because his jumper's a bit baggy. So he drops 10 points. He ended up losing the event by 8. So it was just the jumper, but he had an amazing shoot. And Ryan also had an amazing shoot. And this is the thing about going to a tournament. You get to see and feel like every end these two kids are sitting there shooting amazing, shooting the best they can, putting pressure on one another, and really achieving beyond what they've achieved before because of the competition. Because there's people there, they're trying their best to win. They're not getting flustered. There's no animosity between them. They're just doing their best. As a result, they both come out with really good scores, and what happens, happens. But it goes to show the amount of preparation you put in. You go down there, you put the work in, and you get the results. Rayner also had a good shoot. He also won and shot a really, really good score, which he'd be extremely happy with. I think it was his personal best as well. But I'm also going to talk about some other archers. So the 2 weeks before that, I was up there with one of the local archers, and we were getting his sight. So I was helping him set up Clout and show him how it works. And after a few ends of practice, he had all his arrows in the Clout, and I'm like, good group. And I'm like, well, if I don't get my gear together, he's going to beat me. And I don't want to lose a game because I've lost so many times in the past. Anyway, I get there. And Glenn is his name. Glenn's arrows are 30 metres at the back of the target. And I'm like, what? Last week your arrows were in the middle of the Clout and now they're 30 metres at the back. And he goes, I changed everything. It's like, but you had everything perfect. Why did you change it? He goes, well, I've changed my limbs. I've changed this. I was like, but it was 2 weeks ago. Why didn't you just go with it? Anyway, Glenn had I'm going to say a horrible shoot. His arrows were 30 metres behind, and then they were 20 metres behind, then they were 10 metres in front, and this is what happens at Clout. Your arrows move around, and you're trying to get your sights. This is why it's really important to have your sight settings before Clout. Its preparation is everything. He's like, I didn't think it would be such an issue because I already had them before for the old limbs, so I thought everything would be the same. It clearly wasn't. So anyway, Glenn had a less than expected shoot. I mean, he was relatively happy, but it is what it is. Now I'm going to say that's another archer I was shooting with shot a state record. Greg shot the state record for over 50s, which is extremely good for him, his personal best. Shooting amazing on the day. It's really good to see people there participating, walking backwards and forwards 180 meters every time for a whole day, because there was people there who were struggling walking, and I really appreciate the effort people put in for their sport, and I know they're in pain, but they're there doing it, and it's really, really good. And especially, like, people don't give up. One of the ladies who used to work for us in the shop, she was struggling to score, and then all of a sudden her arrow's in the middle of the Clout, and she's scoring really, really well. And this is about persistence and not giving up. If you don't give up, if you give up, that's it. It's over. It's done. You'll never achieve. Because you've given up. But if you stick it out, you've got a chance of being successful. That's what I'm going to be here. And it's not only about you being successful, it's about experiencing the other people that you've shot with like 5 years in the past or 6 years in the past, it becomes a big family. And I can't stress that enough. That if you go to shoots, you go to a club, you're going to meet people and see them each week or each month over a number of years. So a lot of these archers I shoot with now in this club or this state, I've been shooting with for 8 years. So I've been doing this clout for 8 years. And sometimes I win and sometimes I don't. And I think that's what's really good about archery and shooting competitions. You go there, you do your best, you see other people doing the best. Sometimes you'll see people upset, sometimes people spit the dummy, and then sometimes you see people just improve. And that's what is, to me, the really good thing about archery that I generally don't see in a lot of sports. Anyway, I'll show you the medal. So this is the medal that was awarded. It's the gold for recurve. And I must say, I was entered in the plus 50 division. And I wanted to shoot it open because I want to win open recurve overall. That's what I want to win. That's what my goal was for this year. And I've won indoor and now I've won clout. So if I win one more event, then I win overall. And I've been trying to win for a number of years open recurve, and I've been beaten every year by Chris, who's won 7 years in a row, which is an amazing achievement to win 7 years in a row against all the archers that have been before. And we've been close. It's been very, very close on a number of years to beating him. I've never got across the line. So, and he was in hospital, which, you know, we wish that he gets well. And it'd be obviously nice to beat Chris, because I get beaten all the time by Chris. So it's really nice to get there and beat him. So even though he wasn't there, it would be really nice to go there and beat him because he's such a good archer. So I was entering the plus 50, and the first end, Joel from my shop looks up and says, "You're entered in the plus 50s," because I didn't know, because there's nothing on the score sheet. Like, I know I want to be in open. So I go across to the judge and I said, "I've entered me in the over 50s. Can you please put me in the open?" And they say yes. So I was very, very lucky, because otherwise all this work I've put in to get to this point in August, 8 months of training every night would have amounted to zero. So, like, I've won lots of shoots this year in open recurve, which I've been very happy about. But I really want to win the overall thing, because I think the achievement of Chris to win it 7 years in a row is amazing. And not that I want to win it 7 years in a row, because I don't. I just want to win it once. Just once. I want to put in so much work and see if I can get there. Anyway, I'm Stephen Hand from Archery Supplies. If you're shooting at home, I would suggest and recommend going to a local archery club and get a feel of it. And sometimes it's going to take you a while to, you know, get to know people and to feel comfortable, and them to feel comfortable with you. And the longer you go to the club, the more you know people, the more comfortable you'll feel. And then I recommend you go and shoot some competitions, because shooting the competitions will put more pressure on you. You'll meet more people from different clubs around the place. And it's just a bit of a different experience. And like I said, sometimes the weather's not great, and cloud has been atrocious for the past so many years. And it wasn't bad. It wasn't perfect, but it wasn't bad. So anyway, I'm Stephen Hand from Archery Supplies. Thanks for watching. Bye.